You ever sit back and wonder how a woman can lose a man who gave her everything and still come running back the moment he's gone? Yeah, that mess will have you questioning your own sanity. You were there, present, loyal, honest. You tried to show her what real love looks like. You gave your time, showed her effort, stayed consistent, and she just drifted. Cold texts, dry calls, attitude for no reason. Suddenly you're walking on eggshells for a woman who used to light up just to hear your voice. But here's the truth. Most men learn the hard way. A woman doesn't value presence until she feels absence. That's what flips the game. It's not the guy who stays, no matter how bad she treats him. It's the guy who respects himself enough to walk away when she stops appreciating his presence. That man, that's the one who lives rent-free in her head. That's the one she thinks about when she's laying in bed, scrolling through her phone, wondering if she messed up. See, women in today's world are surrounded by attention, DMS likes, compliments, options. They don't chase what's always available. They chase what disappears without warning. The man who walks away with silence speaks louder than the guy who begs to be seen. If you're tired of feeling like you're never enough, this video is for you. I'm about to show you exactly why walking away is not weakness. It's power. Why it turns indifference into obsession, and how to stop being the man who gets forgotten and become the man she can't stop thinking about. Let's go. 1. You show you're not desperate. Let me ask you something, man. Have you ever watched a basketball game where the player with the ball just keeps forcing shots? He's desperate to score, overthinking every move, trying to prove something, and what happens? He bricks everything. Meanwhile, the calm player, the one who waits for the right moment, takes smart shots, and knows when to pull back. That's the one who dominates the game. Same thing in dating. When a woman senses you're desperate, the game's already over. The truth is, most men don't walk away because they're scared. Scared to lose her, scared to be alone, scared she might move on. And so, they keep showing up, keep checking in, keep overplaying their hand. But the more you do that, the less respect she has for you. Women are wired to test strength, and desperation, no matter how it's masked, always smells like weakness. Now here's what's powerful. When you finally step back. Not because you're playing some tactic, but because you genuinely decide you're not going to beg to be in someone's life. That's when you flip the script. Think of it like the movie Gladiator. Maximus wasn't out there chasing glory. He was just focused, determined, stoic, and people followed him. He didn't need to ask for validation. He earned it by standing in his own power. That's how you need to move. Quiet confidence, no chasing, no convincing, because when you walk away, you're sending a message without even saying a word. I want you, but I don't need you. And that's the line most women aren't used to hearing, not because you said it, but because you lived it. That kind of man becomes rare. And when you're rare, you become valuable. You're no longer another guy flooding her DMs, asking if she's okay. You're not the one watching her stories hoping she notices you. You're not standing in line waiting for her to choose you. You walked off that line. You turned around and focused on your own lane, your money, your body, your peace. And now, she's watching you. Let her wonder why you stopped trying. Let her question if she ever really had you. Because once she feels your absence, and she will, it hits different when it's from a man who was willing to stay but strong enough to walk away. You're not desperate, my guy. You're deliberate. And women don't chase desperation. They chase discipline. 2. You flip the power dynamic. Let's keep it real, brother. In today's dating world, women hold the power by default. Not because they've earned it, but because men handed it over without even thinking. We gave it up through chasing, through over-complimenting, through waiting hours for a dry response just because she's pretty. We handed it over when we stopped being the prize and started acting like we were lucky to even be in the room. But let me tell you this, when a man walks away, the power shifts instantly. Think about the movie The Dark Knight. Remember when Batman disappears in the middle of a conversation, leaving Commissioner Gordon mid-sentence? That move wasn't about being rude. It was about control. It sent the message, I'm not here for attention. I move on my terms. That's power. That's presence. And that's exactly what happens when you stop playing the game by her rules and start walking on your own. You see, most women don't expect men to walk away. They expect us to cling, to argue, to chase. That's the pattern. And the moment you do the opposite, when you go quiet instead of begging, calm instead of emotional, gone instead of available, boom, her entire mindset starts to shift. At first, she may act like she doesn't care. She'll play it cool, maybe even post a few selfies to try and bait you back. But behind that, something is happening. She starts wondering why you didn't fight harder, why you didn't try to win her back. And the moment a woman starts asking herself those questions, she loses control of the power she thought she had. The truth is, women don't crave control. They crave a man they can respect. And respect doesn't come from how much you tolerate. It comes from how much you won't. That's what walking away does. It reclaims your position in the relationship. You're no longer the one reacting to her moods and availability. Now she's reacting to yours. She's not sure what you're thinking. She doesn't know if you've moved on. And the silence you left behind? That speaks louder than any argument ever could. Power is quiet. Power is still. It doesn't explain itself. Look, you're not punishing her. You're protecting your value. You're drawing the line that says, this is how I expect to be treated. If you can't meet me there, I'm gone. That's not ego. That's self-respect. And when you lead with respect, women feel it. Even if they don't say it, even if they act unfazed, deep down, it stings. Because power is never taken with noise. It's taken with presence and absence. So flip the dynamic. Walk away, not to manipulate her, but to remind yourself of your worth. Stop handing over the power so easily. You're not a fan in the stands. You're the player on the court. And once you realize that, the game will never be the same again. 3. You become a challenge again. Let me tell you something most men forget. Women don't value what's easy. They enjoy it for a while, sure. It's flattering. It's convenient. But it doesn't stick. What sticks is the challenge, the mystery, the feeling that she doesn't fully have you. And when you walk away, especially when it's unexpected, you instantly become that challenge again. Think about the movie Rocky 3. When Rocky got comfortable, when he got soft, when everything became predictable, he started losing. He lost that edge, that hunger, that unpredictability. And when Clubber Lang came in with raw intensity, Rocky was shaken because that guy was the challenge now. That's how women feel when you shift gears and stop showing up the way you used to. You go from being the predictable good guy she thought she could control to the man who's suddenly hard to read, hard to reach, and hard to replace. And that's when attraction hits a new level. You see, when a man is always available, always saying yes, always chasing, he's not a challenge. He's a comfort zone. And comfort zones don't create desire. They create boredom. And nothing kills a woman's interest faster than knowing exactly how you'll respond, every single time. But when you walk away, when you stop calling, when your name stops popping up on her screen like clockwork, now she starts wondering. Now you become the unknown factor. She starts asking herself questions she never had to ask before. Why did he go quiet? Did I mess it up? Is he talking to someone else? That little anxiety, the emotional uncertainty, is the exact thing that reawakens attraction. Because now she has something to chase. And let's be real, people only chase what feels slightly out of reach. Think of a football game. The excitement is never in the predictable plays. It's in the broken plays, the unexpected turn, the comeback nobody saw coming. That's what women love. That unexpected, powerful pivot, when a man switches up and walks off like his life doesn't revolve around her. It repositions you as the prize. She may not admit it. She may pretend to be unfazed. But make no mistake, when a woman is used to having your energy and you suddenly pull it back, she notices. And that challenge, that distance, creates an emotional pull far stronger than any compliment or gesture ever could. It's not about being rude. It's not about playing games. It's about shifting from being chased by you to being intrigued by you. That's what walking away creates. A gap, a space, and in that space, She starts to see you differently. You're no longer the guy begging to be loved. You're the man she took for granted and now can't stop thinking about. Become a challenge again, brother. Not to make her chase, but to make yourself worth chasing. 4. You stop competing with other men. Let's break something down right now. Most guys don't realize they're in competition until they've already lost. And no, I don't mean fighting other men with your fists. I mean emotional competition, mental competition. Invisible, subtle wars for her attention, her time, her validation. The moment you're waiting for her to choose between you and 100 dudes in her DMs, you've already stepped into a game you were never meant to play. Now here's where it flips. When you walk away, you're no longer in the race. You're not on the track, you're not in the arena. And guess what? That's when she notices you most. See, most men don't realize that modern dating, especially with social media, has women addicted to attention. It's not even about finding the one anymore. It's about options. It's about being desired. So, you could be the best man in her life, smart, loyal, grounded, but if she knows you'll never leave, she'll place you behind guys who give her less, but disappear without warning. That's why walking away is powerful, because it does something the average man refuses to do. It removes you from the circus. You're no longer one of the dancing clowns trying to make her laugh in the comment section. You're not the one reacting to her stories within 3 seconds. You're not that guy anymore. And when you stop showing up, when you pull back with class and silence, you force her to see the difference between boys who want her and a man who values himself. Look at it like this. Imagine a guy standing in line at a club, behind 30 other dudes, hoping to get in. He's dressed nice, saying all the right things, but he's still waiting for the bouncer to wave him through. Now imagine a man who owns the building next door. He's not waiting. He's not begging. He's building. And while everyone else is trying to gain access to her world, he's creating his own. That's the power of stepping out of the competition. And here's the catch. The moment you stop competing, you become the standard. She starts comparing every guy to you. Not because you begged, but because you left. Because you were once an option, and now you're unavailable. That gap creates pressure. It exposes the lack of depth in the guys still chasing her. It reminds her that most men don't walk away. They linger. But you chose yourself. You stopped fighting for a seat at her table and decided to build your own damn table. And the moment she sees that, she starts thinking differently. Not just about you, but about what she lost. And more importantly, why she lost it. When you stop competing, you stop lowering yourself to prove your worth. You stop asking for a crown and start acting like a king. 5. You trigger regret and curiosity. There's something powerful about silence after effort. When a man who once cared deeply suddenly goes quiet, it echoes louder than any argument, any paragraph-long text, or any let's talk conversation. And when you walk away from a woman, not with drama, not with pettiness, but with calm, grounded strength, you plant 2 seeds in her mind: regret and curiosity. Let's start with regret. When a woman is used to having you around, your calls, your check-ins, your attention, it becomes normal to her. It becomes background noise. She doesn't even have to earn it anymore. You became consistent, but not in the way that builds respect, in the way that's expected. So when you suddenly stop, when you vanish from her daily routine without warning or explanation, it forces her to look at the space you once filled. And that space? That's where regret creeps in. Now, regret doesn't always show up with tears. Sometimes it shows up in silence. She'll sit on her bed scrolling through her camera roll, seeing that old video of you two laughing, and for a moment, just a flash, she'll feel it. That damn, he really cared about me moment. That was I too cold thought. That pause where she realizes she never really gave you the appreciation you deserved. Now let's talk curiosity. Regret makes her feel something, but curiosity, that's what drives her back. Curiosity is emotional caffeine. It keeps her up at night, wondering what you're doing, wondering why you stopped chasing, wondering if there's someone else. She starts clicking on your profile again. checking if you watched her story, looking at your last post to read between the lines. And when she sees you unbothered, still improving, still smiling, maybe even leveling up, that's what stings. Because now she sees what she lost. And worse, you're not even trying to get her back. That silence becomes louder than anything. It makes her second guess her choices. It turns the tables. Before, she was the one being pursued. Now she's the one left behind, trying to read signs, trying to figure out what changed. It's like in the movie Limitless, where the guy goes from average and overlooked to powerful and focused. The people who ignored him before suddenly start circling back, asking questions, trying to re-enter his life. Why? Because transformation makes people regret taking you lightly. That's what walking away does. It triggers something in her brain that says, wait, maybe I misjudged him. And that curiosity, it's magnetic. It brings her back, not because you forced her to come, but because your absence created a void her ego couldn't explain. The best part? You didn't have to do anything loud. You didn't have to scream your worth. You just had to stop showing up where you weren't respected. And in that silence, you became unforgettable. 6. You rebuild your masculine frame. There's something every man needs to understand. You can't lead with power if you've abandoned your masculine frame. And in the modern dating world, too many men lose that frame the moment they fall for a woman. They get soft. They bend. They compromise on their standards just to keep the connection alive. And before they know it, they've gone from being a grounded, self-respecting man to a walking apology, hoping, waiting, and overgiving just to be seen. But the moment you walk away, you reclaim what she slowly stripped away from you, your frame. Now let's break this down. Your masculine frame isn't about being aggressive or controlling. It's not about puffing your chest out or barking orders. Your frame is your foundation. It's your standards, your vision, your ability to stay centered no matter what's going on around you. And women don't just notice it, they feel it. When you're inside her world too deeply, constantly reacting to her moods, adjusting yourself to avoid arguments, or checking in just to make sure everything's okay, you've left your frame. You've entered hers. And in her world, you're not the leader, you're the follower. That's when attraction begins to fade, and disrespect slowly creeps in. Not because she's cruel, but because instinctively, she can't respect a man who abandoned himself for her comfort. But when you walk away, when you remove your presence and go back to building yourself, physically, emotionally, financially, you begin to recenter. You start putting the focus back where it always should have been, on your purpose. You hit the gym not because you want to make her jealous, but because you're reclaiming discipline. You grind harder at work, not for revenge, but because your vision matters again. You start controlling your time, your emotions, your direction, and suddenly your masculine frame begins to reform. You become more silent, more focused, more selective. You're not easily shaken anymore. That calm energy, that quiet strength, that's what women really want. Even the ones who act like they want to lead still crave a man who knows where he's going, with or without them. Remember The Equalizer? Denzel's character didn't raise his voice. He didn't explain himself. He just moved with discipline, purpose, and silence. You felt the weight of his presence because of the control he had over himself. That's a masculine frame. That's what walking away brings back. Control over your life, your mind, your energy. And here's the thing. When you rebuild that frame, you don't come back the same. If she circles back, she's not meeting the man she left. She's meeting a more evolved version. One who can't be manipulated, who won't be pulled by cheap games, who has boundaries etched into his lifestyle. You stop bending. You stop begging. You stand tall. And from that position, you don't chase attraction, you attract it. Walking away isn't just about showing her strength. It's about rediscovering your own. 7. You give her the gift of missing you. Most men are so afraid of losing a woman that they forget the most powerful feeling you can ever give her is this. Let her miss you. And I mean really miss you. Not just your presence, but your energy, your consistency, your emotional security, your masculine calm. But here's the catch. A woman can't miss you if you're always there. Let's be honest, when you're always available, always texting, always replying within seconds, you're not giving her space to value you. You're giving her comfort, not curiosity. You're feeding her ego, not building connection. And the modern world has already overfed that ego. Between social media, dating apps, and thirsty DMs, women are constantly surrounded by attention, and attention they don't earn, they stop respecting. So when you walk away, not as a tactic, but as a choice, you disrupt that pattern. You create absence. And absence is what triggers longing. Think of the movie Cast Away. Tom Hanks's character disappears from the world. He's presumed dead. But the moment he comes back, the woman who moved on, the people who forgot, suddenly they remember. His absence became more impactful than his presence. The moment he returned, people looked at him differently. Why? Because silence gives people time to reflect. And when you were a good man, solid, loyal, grounded, that silence makes them remember everything they took for granted. That's the power of walking away. You're not being bitter. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just letting the absence do what your words couldn't. And here's the beautiful twist. Missing you changes her. She may try to act unbothered at first, but little things start to hit. A song you shared comes on. She passes the restaurant you always went to. A conversation reminds her of a joke you used to make. And the absence becomes weight. Real emotional weight. That's not something you can fake or force. It happens naturally when you had real impact. The man who walks away gives her space to realize who he was. And in a world full of men trying to impress her, you stood out by leaving. See, here's what you must understand. Emotional impact only lands when the presence is removed. You don't appreciate warmth until you feel cold. You don't value peace until chaos shows up. And you don't realize what a real man brought to your life until he's no longer in it. So give her that space. Let her wonder. Let her reflect. Let her feel what it's like not to have you always available. That's when she'll start to crave the comfort, the stability, the authenticity that only you provided. You're not punishing her. You're just allowing nature to run its course. You're giving her the silence she needs to see the difference between men who wanted her and the man who valued her. Let her miss you, brother. That space, that distance, that's where your true value is revealed. The man who walks away isn't weak, he's powerful. Because walking away isn't about games or revenge. It's about knowing your worth, protecting your peace, and refusing to beg for love. In a world where most men are chasing validation, you become rare when you choose silence over desperation. You flip the script, reclaim your masculine frame, and let your absence speak louder than any words ever could. She'll remember the man who had the strength to leave when he wasn't valued. And when she does, that's when you've already won, because you never lost yourself trying to keep her.